Hello, it's great to finally meet you. Welcome to today's tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to use ElevenLabs Text-to-Speech. Are you ready?
So that narration you just heard there was generated by the ElevenLabs Text-to-Speech AI models. And as you can see in the code I have on screen, I accessed it via API. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get set up with the ElevenLabs API, and I'm going to give you access to this code that you can see now. But also there's some very important things to know for best practices, because as I discovered, these text-to-speech models are quite prone to hallucinating, and there's definitely some pitfalls that you want to avoid, so make sure you watch the video in full. So you're going to want to come to ElevenLabs homepage and click sign up. When you sign up, you're going to want to sign up for the API service, okay? But once you've done that, you'll end up on a page like this. This is your API dashboard. So to use the API, it's a pay-as-you-go service. You want to click here to add credits. You'll have to give your card details and then pay in some money to begin using the API. Here you can see your usage. So this has just been me experimenting and learning with it. Now, ElevenLabs is far more than just text-to-speech. They have a lot of really exciting stuff like music generation or transcription or even voice agents, which I'm going to be excited to explore. But this video, we're just focusing on text-to-speech. Now, ElevenLabs, I think, is the best text-to-speech AI model out there. OpenAI have some text-to-speech models, but they lack emotion. You can tell they're obviously AI, but ElevenLabs have really lovely, natural sounding AI voices, and ones at that which sound like they've been recorded in a really professional sound studio. So these voices are amazing for using for really high engagement social media content, because the voices are just so captivating. So once you've added your credits, you're going to want to create an API key. So you want to click here. I've already created one, but you can click here to create a new key. It will generate one for you. You can decide what that API key has access to here. Because it was my first time using it recently, I just ticked this off so it has access to everything. But that does mean if someone does find out what your API key is, it's higher risk to you. Anyway, you give your API key a name here. I'm not actually going to create it because I've already done one. Fantastic. If we go back to the home page, if we click on voices, we can then select a voice for our text-to-speech generation. So there are trending voices here. Let's see what this voice is all about.
That sounds so frustrating. I can't believe they dumped all that on you last minute.
Okay, there's that one. What about Mike?
A wise man will make more opportunities than he finds.
That's pretty cool. But also, if you're not happy with your voices, you can click Create Voice if you can't find what you're looking for. And this is a really cool tool. I actually used this myself because I couldn't quite find the voice that I wanted. And yeah, I was really happy with the results. So you can click Voice Design here, and then you can literally type in what you're looking for. So this one has also suggested something. I might go for this. An older woman with a thick southern accent, she is sweet and sarcastic, will generate that voice, and it's going to use some credits here. Now, of course, you can type anything in there. I just used the auto suggest, and we'll see what this creates.
Well, sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies, we're gonna miss the whole darn point. I'd rather build something that makes folks' lives easier. And if I can do it in heels with a smile and a touch of sass, even better.
Okay, so it's given me 3 to choose from, so let's quickly see what voice 2 is all about.
Well, sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies, we're gonna miss the whole...
Okay.
Well, sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies, we're gonna miss the whole darn point. I'd rather...
I think I quite like voice 1.
Well, sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies...
So once you're happy with your voice selection, you can click Select Voice, give it a name. I called my last voice Artemis Bartholomew, that's why it's suggesting it. It was like a really deep, dramatic British accent. But for this southern woman, I don't know what a good name, Samantha, I don't know. You can also choose what language this voice speaks. So the cool thing about ElevenLabs, they don't just generate speech from text in English. They've got a whole selection of languages, unlike OpenAI. I think OpenAI only does English at the moment. But anyway, obviously we're looking for an English voice in this, or the English language in this case. And then you can click Save Voice. So now that I've generated that voice, so on the Voices tab, we're currently on the Explore page. But if I click on My Voices, you can see I've got 3 here. And we go across to these 3 dots on the far side of the voice we just created, Samantha. We can copy the voice ID, which is going to be very important for when we get to coding. Speaking of code, let's have a quick look at it now. So you're going to want to create a new Python environment before we get into coding. So I'm already working out of my tutorial environment for this video. However, if you wanted to create a new environment, and now I got to specify this will look slightly different depending on what you're using, so you're going to have to figure this out a little bit yourself. But I'm using a Python interpreter called Anaconda. So I type in a command like conda create -n for the name of the environment, and you could call this text-to-speech. And then you need to define the Python, and then you need to determine the version of Python you're working with. You would hit enter. I'm not going to create this environment because I've already got one that I can work from. Once you've created that, you can then type conda activate text-to-speech environment. And then after you hit that, you're going to want to install the right dependencies. So for getting started with the ElevenLabs API, you're going to want to type pip install ElevenLabs, hit enter. For me, it's going to say requirements are already satisfied because I've already installed it for this environment. But for you, it's going to take a little longer to load if you're doing it for the first time. You're also going to want to type pip install python-env. This is going to allow us to load in our API keys to our code securely. Hit enter. Again, for me, it's saying requirement already satisfied because I've already installed it. Now, if you're interested in automated content generation, installing the OpenAI library is going to be very useful, so we can auto-generate scripts that then the ElevenLabs API can use to create really high-quality narrations from. Great. So then you're going to want to set up your environment. So I already have my .env file here. Sorry, when I say set up your environment, I meant to say set your API keys for your environment. So you're going to want to click New Text Document if you're working on something like Windows. Go into that, and here's where you define your API key. So if you want to use OpenAI, you would type OpenAI API_key equals, you'd paste your API key there. We're using ElevenLabs, so we're going to type in ElevenLabs_API_key equals, and then you're going to want to paste your API key that you created into here. And then you're going to want to click Save As. On the Save As type, you're going to click All Files. So then you could save this as a .env file. Once you click Save, your API keys will be saved. I'm not going to do it because I've already done it for this tutorial, but for you as a beginner, those are the steps you'd have to follow. Great. Now we can look at our code. So I'm going to give you access to this code at the end of the video, but I'm going to talk through how it works. So we import our libraries. This imports the .env library, which allows us to securely use our API keys within this code. We import the ElevenLabs library. We import OS. So this load.env basically loads our environment file. And then we set the ElevenLabs API key, like so. So this looks within our .env file and assigns the ElevenLabs API key to this variable. And then we make our API call. So this is how we submit a response. So it's audio equals client.text-to-speech.convert, and then we define the text. So you have to have this text in a very specific format if you're using the 11v3 model, but I'll get to that later. But anyway, you paste in your text, we define the voice ID. So the voice ID is the voice that you're using. So if you go to ElevenLabs, if you navigate to the voices that you've saved, so I have 3 voices here. If we want to pick Samantha, the voice that we created at the start of this video, we click on More Actions at the side and we click Copy Voice ID. We would then paste that voice ID between the quotation marks here. So now ElevenLabs knows to use that voice. We then have Model ID. So ElevenLabs has different AI models to generate your audio. 11v3 is, in my opinion, the most expressive. So it gives the best emotion in the speech that's generated. There are other models, but I found them just a bit too monotone. So I like to work with 11v3. However, there is a bit of a flaw with this one, which I'll again talk about later. This line here defines the output format, saying it as an MP3. And this line of code here basically saves the generated text as an MP3 file in the working directory that you have this Python script saved. So I have my Python script here, test text-to-speech. When I run it, it will generate an output file named output. These other audio files are just ones I've renamed. So that's how the code works. So if I hit run, it's just created an output. So if I go to my file and run this output file.
Hello, it's great to finally meet you. Welcome to today's tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to use ElevenLabs Text-to-Speech. Are you ready?
There we go, that's the voice that we just created. Okay, now let's talk about prompting, because this 11v3 text-to-speech model does hallucinate very badly if you type your prompt wrong. So as you'll notice, I've separated out these lines, and it's very important that you format your input text as so, because if, for example, you give it a long string of text, so if I put all the speech together like this, it hallucinates badly. And I'm going to give you an example of one that I generated earlier. So in this audio file I'm going to show you now, I gave a big chunk of text like this, and the model freaked out and completely hallucinated and got it wrong. So I'm going to show you that now.
Hello, it's great to finally meet you. Welcome to today's tutorial. We're going to learn how to make you in the region metal. We're going to learn how to learn what differently a lot. Hello, it's great to finally meet you. Welcome to today's tutorial. We're going to learn how to mate you in the region metal.
Yeah, so that's an example of where it just horrendously hallucinated and it generated this 7-minute long output file of it just completely speaking gibberish because I submitted the text like this. So it's important to leave big pauses and get the model to only only write like a sentence or 2 at a time before doing a double enter on your keyboard. Otherwise it just freaks out and gets it completely wrong. So that's the only major issue that I've seen, but otherwise you can submit quite long pieces of text as long as it's formatted like this. Another really cool thing with the ElevenLabs API, however, is you can type in instructions in your text prompt to get the voice to laugh or emphasize something or to say something in a very particular way. So you use square brackets. So for example, I can say laugh just before hello, and then maybe just before they say are you ready, I can put whisper. I'm not actually sure if it can whisper, so we'll see if that works. But I know for sure that you can get the model to laugh. So let's see how this works out.
Hello, it's great to finally meet you. Welcome to today's tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to use ElevenLabs Text-to-Speech. Are you ready?
Excellent. So we can give it instructions to speak exactly and deliver your text exactly how you want it. Great. That's the tutorial. So if you're interested in building automated AI systems, and if you want to get your hands on the Python script that I used in today's videos, and in addition to that, hands on lots of other resources that I built, you're going to want to join my Skool community. I've created a Skool community called the AI Workshop, and in here I'm in the process of creating different courses. So I have some videos on using the OpenAI API. I'm going to add a new course now about content generation with AI. So if you want to use the Python script that I used today, by the time you watch this video, there'll be a new course called something like Content Generation with AI. And under the first lesson, you'll have access to a resource like this. I created this community for people who are looking to learn more about the API, to connect with people who may be experts or complete beginners in this field. I don't care your experience level, it would be great to have you here. And this will be a great place to connect with others, to either solve problems for other people or to have your problem solved with an automation solution. And of course, I'm posting educational content here for you to learn how to use these APIs and to build really exciting tools for yourself. So if that's something you're interested in, follow the link in the description. I'm slowly building this community. It's a bit quiet now, but I only created it last week, so give it some time. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.